law. His allegations gained attention and ongoing lawsuits against OpenAI from authors and news publishers, including the New York Times, accusing the company of copyright infringement. Balaji, I mean, they're really hurting the New York Times there. Like, not just, they're hurting themselves. Elon's Hitler. All right, New York Times, they're just trying to put you out of your misery. By the way, if they're using the New York Times to train their AI models, they're going to be not very accurate AI models. Accusing the company of copyright infringement, Balaji was identified as a potential witness in these legal proceedings. Oh, he was going to be a witness.
The battle starts in
Not
5,
anymore.
4,
Weird. Suicide.
3,
Don't ask what. 2 gunshot wounds. Whatever.
1.
Tragically, Balaji was found deceased in a San Francisco apartment on November 26, 2024. The San Francisco Police Department and the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner concluded that his death was a suicide with no evidence of foul play. It's like they just rule out. No evidence of foul play. Nobody from OpenAI was here. No assassination. No ties to Hillary Clinton. Why? That's suspicious that you just concluded all that. That's very specific conclusions of what didn't happen. However, his family has expressed skepticism about this conclusion and continues to seek further investigation. They sought further investigation. That's what we find with what I shared with you. Their further investigation was a second autopsy that suggested there would be an alleged second gunshot wound to his head. First one was the forehead. That's a very lethal placement for a bullet, let alone a bullet at close range. Second gunshot wound, potentially aiming at his mouth. Wow, if you're gonna blame someone for taking his own life, what's the cliche way of doing it? Hit himself in the mouth or the forehead. How about both? What stupid assassin did these slimy, evil people hire? It's like, you should be place in the head. I don't know how it goes. We got called a medical examiner. I mean, luckily they got the blackmail tapes on him, so he's controlled. Really, this gets out. He'll say, like, he's definitely suicide. Shot himself in the head twice, let alone in different places. That blackmail tapes, but I don't know if the public's going to be dumb enough to buy this. Can we get with the company and have them issue a statement? Just like Boeing sending their condolences to the family? That'll make them look sympathetic. Like, oh, well, the company definitely couldn't have done it because they issued a public statement saying they send their condolences. It's brilliant.
There's still so much to do.
All right, clean this up. We got it all. By the way, big companies whose whistleblowers suffer fate of death, obviously in their own hands. I believe you. I'm on your side. When you send your condolences, what the hell are condolences? I don't know. It sounds like a shallow trite type of thing that almost means nothing. It almost makes you sound like you just want to look not guilty. Like when Putin assassinated that head of the Wagner clan. His private jet kind of exploded midair, just whatever. Routine engine failure with just everything exploded. Putin sent his condolences. Companies, y'all better hire some better assassination PR firms. Like, don't send your condolences anymore. Just like word it out with more words, like whatever you think you mean by condolences, like just spell it out. You'll look still very guilty, but you'll sound less guilty. I appreciate how you send your condolences. Yikes. It's almost like this killing whistleblowers. At this point, I think it's too obvious. The move is blackmail. Problem with blackmailing whistleblowers, you gotta get dirt on them, which means you gotta start reevaluating your hiring practices. If you're hiring good people, that's a problem. You're not gonna get dirt on good people. They're not out there slashing the throats of children just because it gets them off. They're not out there at bitty parties because they have no soul. They're not on Epstein's jet. They're not going to Democrat parties in the woods dancing around with sheep skulls on their filthy, evil little heads. So hiring practices at these big companies, Boeing, OpenAI, they need to revamp their practices. They need to find highly intelligent yet psychotic people. Because the psychotic people, they're going to be doing something dubious. Preferably you hire already with the tapes filmed. That's great. Or you just get them to do something, at least a third-degree felony, preferably a first-degree felony, at the job interview. done and dusted. You know they're qualified because you watch them kill a lady while they were being interviewed. That's ideal. But if you don't have the dirt, it's like, cool, now you can set them up for it. You can just send a lady into their office, got a sign on her shirt that says, here's a knife, like whatever you want to do, it's fine, got the tape rolling, it's good. Now that's a controlled employee. They're not going to blow the whistle on you. Problem is, when they blow the whistle, then they just disappear. I wonder who had a motive. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Big companies, I want you to do black prevention. Killing, covering up with suicide. That's trying to cure. For corporate power to rule the world, we need to prevent, not cure. Blackmail. That is the path to corporate success and secrecy and no crimes ever being spoken into the light of day. Corporate America, you are right.
Here's a question for you. How many more lies will the media feed us before we wake up and smell coffee? Well, while they're busy pushing narratives, 1775 is busy brewing something else. Freedom. And what about the big corporate coffee companies? Well, it sure seems like they're more interested in pushing woke agendas than in brewing a good cup of coffee. They'll happily sling you overpriced, moldy swamp water that can barely pass as a cup of coffee, all while lining the pockets of the same people that want to censor your speech. But not 1775 coffee. Proudly roasted by Rumble, where free speech thrives and flavor actually matters. Their single origin, high altitude beans are as bold as their fight for truth. So why sip on weak corporate coffee when you can brew rebellion? Head over to 1775coffee.com/awaken and use code AWAKEN to get 15% off your order. And every cup of 1775 coffee that you brew helps support creators like me that refuse to bow down to the market.
CNN anchor threatens to cut the mic on Doge Advisor. What?
Don't spend that Doge dividend quite yet. I'm Michael Smerconish in Philadelphia. Doge, they say they're about to show us the money. The Department of Government Efficiency, led by Elon Musk, is claiming to have saved taxpayers approximately $55 billion through various cost-cutting measures. They're breaking down how they claim they're doing it on the department's website.
Yep.
For example, just yesterday, Doge published its latest cost-cutting measure. They say that it resulted in a value of up to $335 billion in savings. It's also pointing out wasteful spending with posts like this, showing how taxpayers spent over $20 million on a boarded-up building over the course of 20 years. There's also a wall of receipts listing savings on the website detailing canceled contracts and terminated leases as part of the department's, they say, transparency initiative.
Yeah.
And now there's a new potential layer to these Doge savings that's being seen across social media to give us some of that money back.
Those are pennies, by the way? Okay, then give them to me.
So the Doge dividend, it was explained in a 4-page plan that was introduced this week on X,
Yeah, I'll take it.
breaking down how every taxpayer would get a $5,000 tax refund check funded exclusively with a portion of the total savings delivered by Doge. So long.
There's a better chance Doge is going to give you a unicorn. Really. Like, it's probably not going to happen. But, I mean, it's funny to think about.
As Musk's goal,
Yeah.
$2 trillion in federal savings is met. The tweet was from an investor and CEO, James Fishback, who's been a guest at Mar-a-Lago and has ties to both Trump and former Doge official Vivek Ramaswamy. Well, the idea grabbed Elon Musk's attention, who replied he checked with the president. It appears he was good because one day later, President Trump expressed interest in this proposal.
Okay.
There's even under consideration a new concept where we give 20% of the Doge savings to American citizens and 20% goes to paying down debt because the numbers are incredible.
So with attention comes scrutiny. With Doge, the accuracy of its reported savings being called into question. For instance, an initial claim of saving $8 billion by canceling a single Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE contract was later revised to $8 million after discovering a clerical error. That's not all. Critics are calling Musk out for the haphazard way he's approaching cost cutting. There's the firings, then rehirings across agencies, questions about transparency, conflicts of interest, the true dollar dollar amount of these savings being questioned.
I don't see where the conflict of interest thing comes in. I mean, haven't they both addressed that like 7 times? I feel like that's already been defined.
The long-term impact of the overhaul. Well, who better to answer some of these questions than James Fishback, the CEO of Azoria, the originator of the Doge dividend. James, thank you for being here. How did this all come to pass?
Well, good morning, Michael. To tell you the truth, it came to me in a dream. I woke up, I called her.
All right, okay. Your nation's a joke? I don't know. It seems like a pretty good dream to me.
Head of research at Azoria. We met at Capitol Grill. We fleshed this thing out in 2 hours, and I'm honored that the president has endorsed it. This is a real plan to send the savings that Doge generates over the next couple of years right back into the pockets of hardworking Americans all across this country. They deserve it. It was their money in the first place, and they need a break.
Okay, I'm all for ridding the government of waste, fraud, and abuse. But at some level, isn't it all illusory? In other words, if there's a quote-unquote savings made by Elon Musk and Doge, we're still $36 trillion in debt. So there's...
So let me get this straight. The logic is that because we already have a bunch of debt, we might as well just keep spending money? Like, I don't understand this at all. And also, if this was illusory, then why did we give out COVID stimulus checks? We already have a principle for this. There's a precedent for this. It happened like 3 years ago. What do you mean?
There's no pie to cut up. There's no slice of the pizza that I can hand back to you unless we continue to borrow those funds.
Our plan's really simple. Over the next couple of years, Doge
already
will
forgot?
save
You
a
think
set
they forgot
amount
about
of
the
money.
COVID stimulus?
We're going to take 20% of that and put it right back in the hands of taxpayers. The other 80, as President Trump has pointed out, will go back to paying down the debt and narrowing the deficit. Here's the truth, Michael. For every $5 that Doge saves, as we believe calculated by the Congressional Budget Office, when this whole project is said and done next summer, for every $5, $1 goes back to the pockets of American taxpayers. Here's why.
Why are his Jesus, bro. Like, this guy got a default resting face like a Starfield NPC. This is not. What's it? Damn, bro.
They sent their money to D.C. to be spent in America, not to be abused, not to be disrespected, and not to be defrauded. That $20 million to Iraqi Sesame Street, that money sent for a transgender opera in Colombia, all at the same time, Michael, that we have roads and bridges crumbling. We're losing 900 Americans every day.
I don't even care about the money. I care about where the money went. I bet that opera probably wasn't even that good. I want a detailed balance sheet of that opera. I want to know who was in charge of it, and I think they should get audited. Let's get their tax returns. Let's go ahead and do an audit of their finances. That's what I want to see happen. That's where I'm at. Because I don't even think they're getting their transgender opera. We're spending all this fucking money, they don't even get it. Or if they do, it sucks.
Deaths of despair, alcoholism, and suicide. 8 out of 10 black American fourth graders are not even reading at grade level. This is pathetic.
What?
10 black American day to deaths of despair, alcoholism, and suicide. 8 out of 10 black American fourth graders are not even reading at grade level. This is pathetic.
What the
Americans
fuck?
sent their money to be spent in America. They were defrauded. They were lied to. They now deserve restitution. And the second point that President Trump, just one sec, Michael. The second point that President Trump brought up on Air Force One is that these Doge dividends will incentivize Americans to report waste, fraud, and abuse in their own community. Why? Why? Because the more that Doge saves, the
more money
bigger
they
their
get.
Doge dividend check will be. Remember, in economics, show me the incentive and I'll show you the outcome. We're giving every American...
I'm going to get to the economics. Come
Go
on,
ahead.
I gave you a chance for a great sound bite. You got and those soft power exercises make for great sound bites, but when you drill down,
It's not having a transgender opera isn't soft power. It's just retarded. Like, what is that? What are we thinking? Like, really? It's crazy. What are you talking
for
about?
example, on Sesame Street in Iraq, they often make sense. Joseph Nye from Harvard, who gets credited with the coinage of the word soft power, you know, you'd rather spend on that than bullets. But wait, you want to talk
Hold
about
on, there was
the
a
economics?
terrorist attack in Iraq last month that killed 40 people. It's clearly not working.
Yeah, if so, I mean, is the solution, so if the soft power, so basically, if the logic is that this soft power reduces the probability of having bad things happen, then how many Sesame Street plays do you think that we should have? Because, like, obviously one isn't enough. Because if we're still having terrorist attacks over there, they're not working. So maybe 5, 7, 12. Maybe once a week. How many is it going to take to make these bombs stop exploding? There has to be the math on this, right? Why should we care about terrorist attacks in Iraq at all? That's a great question. Yeah, I don't think it's the U.S. taxpayers' responsibility to care about terrorist attacks that are in Iraq. Great point.
Okay,
Power
so
and Sesame
maybe,
Street are not
so
working.
Maybe,
If there are terrorists, we need to kill the
maybe- come
terrorists.
on.
We don't need to fund Big Bird
Listen
and
to me.
Elmo.
Maybe the terrorist would have been better off watching Big Bird than learning in a madrasa.
So he's saying we need more Sesame Street plays in Iraq. What is it? Like, I don't understand. Like, you see the video. Like, how is this possible? Is there any thinking to this at all? This is amazing. There's no answer. I don't even understand this at all. Depends if the government dive up their nose. Dive up their nose. Otherwise, you don't need to care. Well, this is my mindset. Is that why the fuck are we in Iraq at all? Now, I'm speaking as an American, so I can't understand Iraqi culture. But what I can understand is that if I had another nation that is trying to forcefully push its agenda in my country, that would annoy me. And I wouldn't like that. So when I hear this, I bet there's a lot of guys in Iraq that are like, what the fuck are they doing trying to come over here and tell us how to live? You already bombed us, you destabilized our fucking country, you killed our leader, and you think we had nukes. We didn't have any nukes, by the way. Everything's fucked up now, and now you want us to look at Sesame Street and tell us that we're right? You're gonna Big Bird us out of being mad about the weapons of mass destruction debacle? I don't fucking think that's gonna happen. Really, you think about it. It's insane. Big Bird is the solution to terrorism. Well, I don't know about Big Bird, but I know One Piece certainly isn't.
Let me make my point. Put on the screen from the Peterson Foundation. This is where the rubber meets the road. We are $36 trillion in debt. I don't know if you can see that, but that's 106,121 for every single
lot of
person
those.
in America. So if Elon Musk is successful in saving us money from waste, fraud, and abuse, and by the way, James, I hope that he
This is a complete cosmetic number. We're never going to pay down this debt. It's never going to happen. It's a complete made-up number. It's $36 trillion. That's not even real. Like, all of these are bullshit, theoretical numbers. Like, what is this? It's not made up? Yeah, absolutely it is. Debt to who? Who's the debt to? Who's it? It's all made-up money. It's not
I
all
don't
the
like
China.
the approach, but I like the fact that something's being done. There is no money in the till. We owe $36 trillion. We owe $106,000 each. So whatever the savings ought to be, it's not like President Trump's doing us a favor by giving us 20%. Everything ought to go to the debt because the Peterson people
That's
say...
a fair argument. If he wants to use this argument and say that the Doge dividend is silly and it should be put entirely towards paying down the debt, like, I wouldn't agree with that because I think that the debt is just a cosmetic number that will never change. Like, this entire, you're never going to pay down $36 trillion. It's just never going to happen. Like, I'm sorry, it will never happen. It's not real. It's never going to go that far. It's just never going to happen. So anyway, that being said, inflation, yeah, with inflation, everything like that, it's just never going to happen. That being said, I think the money should probably just be reallocated to people through, like, entitlement programs. It's not like they should just send people checks.
By 2050, 50% of all revenue is going to go to satisfying interest on the debt. We should be paying the debt. Your response?
My response is this. We should be paying the debt, which is why the Doge dividend incentivizes every American to call out waste, fraud, and abuse, to lower the budget, to narrow the deficit, and to bring down the debt. Where was this emergency over the debt when we sent $350 billion to Ukraine to be wasted? Where was this emergency, Michael, on CNN when you guys were advocating?
As you don't know economics, do some basic research before saying nonsense. Do you realistically think that we are ever going to pay down $36 trillion? Just be honest with me right now. Do you ever think that's actually going to happen? You or your investments grade will be reduced? That's not the question I asked. Do you think that we're ever going to pay that down? That number is ever going to get erased? Japan, China on most of our debts? Yes, I think that you will. I don't. I don't think we will. I think the number is too big. We're not getting enough money. There's never going to be a reason to do that. A lot of the EU and Brazil can't really capitalize on that debt. It's not going to happen. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen.
$7,000 to migrants in Chicago, $7,000 a month per migrant, and now we want to spend $5,000 one time from President Trump to hardworking Americans. The migrants didn't deserve $7,000 a month. Hardworking Americans deserve a $5,000 check with President Trump's name on it. So enough with the double standard. Ukraine did not deserve $350 billion.
Okay, listen to me.
Something totally different.
Listen to me. This is Madoff-like. This is a Ponzi scheme.
No, Ukraine was a Ponzi scheme. The migrant funding was a Ponzi scheme. Hardworking Americans deserve a break.
James,
it was their money, Michael. It was their money.
James, give me a chance to speak. Theoretically, it's my program. We don't have the money, is what I'm trying to tell you. It's a Ponzi.
So we didn't have the money for Ukraine, right? We didn't have the money for Ukraine. $350 billion.
I never do this. I don't want to be that guy. And do I have to silence your microphone so I can respond to what you've said? Because there's so much fallacy in what you've just offered.
Please go ahead and refute it.
I have a very simple premise here. We're $36 trillion in debt. It's a fraud. As much as I want to see us cut waste, fraud, and abuse, it is an absolute fraud to say to the American people, because of what Musk is doing, we have $5 grand to give each of you. The only way we have $5 grand is if we're borrowing it, because we're that far in debt. I'm trying to meet you halfway, which is simply to say, what a good thing that finally we're going to look at waste, fraud, and abuse, albeit it shouldn't be in this haphazard fashion. But let's at least be honest with the American people that whatever we quote-unquote save, we already owe. Now I'm going to give you 30 seconds to respond, and then I'm going to say see you later. Go ahead.
Michael, let me say this. We're fellow Americans. We care about this issue, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to come on this program, but I got to speak truth here. At the end of the day, we have got to send the money back that is saved, just 20% of it. The other 80% goes down to paying the national debt and narrowing the deficit. To your point, yes, there has been a fraud against the American people, the Green New scam, Ukraine, the migrant crisis. Their taxpayer dollars were sent abroad, were not sent at home. Were not spent in America, not on healthcare, not on education. That ends with President Trump's leadership today. He is delivering on his promise of major government reform, Michael. The Doge dividend plan is bold, and Americans support it.
All right, I'm calling time on all of that. I appreciate your being here. I think we've each, I hope, made our respective points. Thank you.
I don't think we're ever going to get a Doge dividend. I'm going to be totally honest. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the probability of it happening is so extremely fucking low. Right side guy, what is this here? Is the money was found when they have all the receipts? They don't find a cash stockpile? Well, it's money that we're spending on something stupid and then we stop spending the money, right? I think that's generally what happens. Talk about debt once in 10 years. Once they start to care when it might win their opponent's political points with fucking children. No, the thing is that, like, we're never going to pay back $36 trillion. It's never going to happen. The entire premise of this problem is fake. Like, I'm sorry. And if you guys think that it's going to happen, go ahead, clip it right now. Let's come back to it in 5, 10, 20 years. Yep, let's come back. Let's see if the number goes up or down. Because I bet it's just going to keep going up and up and up and up and up and up and up. That's it. And it's never going to go down. Will you be here in 20 years? If I don't get banned, maybe. Yeah, we'll see what happens, right? Or World War III happens. There's definitely that, too. And, yeah, that's it. What are my view on the tariffs? I don't know. I don't think anybody really knows. I think that it's massively destabilizing. I know people, I've had friends of mine contact me and they've said like, yeah, bro, like our company is like way worse. Like we have this massive issue we're thinking about doing layoffs, right? So like I've had people tell me like that they're really bad.
Markets are open and you might want to turn away or maybe not. It's 2 days now. The news is tough out there now with the tariff announcement. Already in 5 minutes of trading, we're up about 2.5% for the Dow 30. So we're below 40,000 now for the first time in some time. I'd say about a year. On the broad.
It is not unthinkable to me that this number might be a 2 within a year. I think it could go down by that much.
Market, the S&P 500 trading lower about 2.5 percentage points.
I don't think it will, by the way. Like, in my opinion, I think that a lot of these tariffs are just brinkmanship, and it's not actually something that's going to happen in the long term. I think that a lot of people are expecting Trump to use these tariffs as negotiating chips and not necessarily like a solid foundation for policy. That's the reason, and like that's what I think people are thinking. But if he does keep them, I could see it going down substantially.
The NASDAQ is down even more at 3%. So in the past 30 minutes, the president, who is now in Florida at Doral for the LIVE event, he posted this. So the many investors coming to the United States and investing massive amounts of money, my policies will never change. This is a great time to get rich, richer than ever before. I will remind you that China announced its retaliatory tariffs around 5 a.m. Eastern time today to the tune of 35% for American products going into China.
So 34,
so that was the latest move. We'll see how it bounces back and forth throughout the day and into the weekend as we move forward. All right, this from last night, Air Force One. Roll it.
What we have is we have a set of tariffs based on what they've been charging us. That's reciprocal. And those tariffs have come in and every country's called us. That's the beauty of what we do. We put ourselves in the driver's seat.
President Trump.
Yep, that's right. And the only problem is people think he's putting himself in the driver's seat and then driving directly into a wall. That's the issue. And now, is that wall the Great Wall of China? We're going to find out.
Somewhat downplaying the initial market reaction to his tariff plan. He's betting Americans will tolerate the short-term downturn if it means restoring manufacturing here in the U.S. Free Press columnist Batya Sargon writes that with Trump's Liberation Day plan, he's delivering on one of his campaign promises. She is our guest now. I'm sorry about that, but your name is unusual, but people are going to get to know you. You wrote a column that is getting a lot of attention. It said this: how did he steal the working class from the Democrats? Well, in the most obvious way, by purloining their pro-labor agenda. He has
the reason why is because you can't have a you can't have a party of people who constantly think that and talk down to voters. And I think this is the way that a lot of working class people believe, is that they view Democrats as ivory tower intellectuals that add basically no value to society. Whereas in a lot of cases, these are people that have like physical labor jobs and things that, provide some sort of tangible effect to society. And so when they're being talked down to by some graphic artist that, you know, like uses Photoshop for a living to make pretty pictures, and they get told learn to code from this person, they're not going to appreciate that at all. You think they're smarter than yeah, you think you're smarter than me? Exactly. That's exactly the way they feel.
The border and is now instituting widespread tariffs, implementing a broad protectionist agenda committed to reshoring manufacturing and giving the working class a boost, the likes of which we haven't seen since the New Deal.
Yeah.
Tell me about your column and the reaction to it.
Do you know, it's so amazing. This morning on one of the liberal channels, I saw a Democrat congressman, and he was just sitting there saying, I have no idea why President Trump is doing this. They simply cannot understand why he is implementing the tariffs, because the answer.
Well, the thing is, like, if you voted for Trump, this is very important. If you voted for Trump and you're upset about these tariffs, you kicked yourself in the dick. He said he was going to do this the entire time. He said, guys, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this, guys. Guys, guess what I'm gonna do? Boys, have you heard about my favorite word? So yeah, seriously, so anybody who's voted for Trump, who's complaining about these tariffs, you are so dumb. He said this from the beginning. This is one of the only things Trump has been consistent on even. You can look at interviews from Trump in 1980, and he's talking about tariffs. Really? He's talking about even then.
Answer is simple. He is choosing Main Street over Wall Street. He has chosen to bet on the American working class instead of on the rich elites.
That's right. That's exactly it. And that's the reason why you see so many of these people on social media that are unhappy about it. It's because they're the ones that have a bunch of money in the lawsuit. Or sorry, in the stock market. I don't know why I said lawsuit. And I think they're permanent. He's talking about abolishing income tax under $150,000. Yes. And this is like almost all identity politics is, in my opinion, a proxy for class warfare. And I think that this is one of the first examples that you can really see of like this class warfare taking into effect. And I think that there are a lot of people that are in like the Trump like Republican Party that are actually extremely far left with their economic policy, but only for Americans. Like basically they have no problem giving a lot of money to other people in America. They just don't want it going to Mexico. And you're seeing these people come forward now. America first, exactly. America first. I love this. Yes. And so that's the big difference.
This is astonishing because for 60 years, presidents on both sides of the aisle have sided with the rich over the hardest working Americans, the American working class.
That's exactly it. And I think that's the way people have seen it. And this is just a good little example. The wealthiest top 10% of households own over 85% of corporate stock. This is again what I was saying. Is people are fighting back against this. And so, yeah, that's, well, no shit. Yeah, exactly. Isn't it funny how that works? It is.
And, you know, I used to have the Trump derangement syndrome. You know, I started out as a lefty, a liberal. I really, really couldn't understand the draw people had to this president. But over time, I've come to see that he is simply the inheritor of the values that used to define the Democrats because they used to be the party of labor.
Was there a... Trump is the perfect embodiment of the id of the American working class. And he works in that behavior, in that way, and I think that's why he's so successful. That's why you have all of these hicks and hillbillies that are voting for a guy that was born a multi-fucking millionaire, and they can relate more to him. It's because he knows how to tap into that. He bankrupted 3 casinos. Yeah. I don't. What's your point? Like that he's bad at business? I don't think that doesn't have anything to do with it. 100% right, man. Yeah, that's what it is. What about all the businesses he's ruined? I mean, what about it? What's the point? I don't even get it. What do you like? Okay, like that's not even what's being discussed.
A single moment that changed you?
So the cracks came a little at a time and then all at once. You know, the first was my rabbi, who's the best person I know, told me that he loved Trump. And I suddenly realized, well, I guess not every person who voted for him is a racist. Then I was doing a lot of reporting from the South on American polarization. And what I found was a lot more united Americans than divided us, even in this moment. It was really the elites who were polarized, but average Americans were very united. And then the kicker was in 2018, I saw a Yale study. And in this Yale study, it found that
This
there was
is again what I was saying, is that average people do see it this way. They do look at it this way, and they think to themselves, like, okay, well, a lot of people like feel like outsourcing and like offshoring different types of like just development and business. This has come, the perspective of offshoring business and outsourcing things to other countries. The perspective that the average American has is that this has come at the expense of the worker and to the benefit of the, you know, top 1%. People felt it? Well, regardless of like what you like, oh, it did, it didn't, that's not the point. This is what people think. I've been saying this shit for like a decade. A lot of people have been saying this for a very long time. Yeah, it's a very, very common line of reasoning.
difference between how white liberals and white conservatives talk to Black and Hispanic Americans. And here was the difference. White liberals dumb down their vocabulary.
They don't even know what the word computer is.
When they're talking to Black or Hispanic people.
So?
And white conservatives don't do that. They use a lower level of vocabulary. It's called presenting lower competence. They use smaller words when they're talking to Blacks and Hispanics than they do when they're talking to white people. This is white liberals. But white conservatives don't do that. And I remember looking at this and thinking, and we, the liberals, call them the racists? This is the most racist thing I ever heard.
Yeah.
And it was an indictment of the entire...
Yeah, they don't know where the DMV is. How can you expect them to get an ID? They can't find a DMV.
Progressive worldview, which is based on this idea that minorities require the largesse and the beneficence of white progressives in order to thrive. And that was really a moment where
the reason why they have that thinking is because it puts them in the virtuous position that they want to be in. It's not because it's true. It's simply because their worldview is built around them being the savior, so they can feel good about themselves.
Realized, wow, there's
That's
something
the reason.
really wrong with the left as it is, and came to see that it was President Trump who wanted to implement agenda items that would restore dignity to working class Americans. That's what this entire agenda is about. That's what these tariffs are about.
And so, do you think that others are coming around to this opinion? Like, you obviously you hear about feedback.
Yeah, you're not going to get people that are working class to think that these tariffs are bad if you tell them that, well, stocks are going down. They don't care about stocks. They care about, like, groceries. They don't have stocks.
From a lot of people.
So the response to my Free Press column has been overwhelming. And I actually wanted to ask you, Dana, why do you think that is? Why do you think that this idea of a MAGA lefty is resonating so much with so many conservatives?
Well, I don't think it's that surprising.
Well, it's not at all. And this is at least, like, for me, this is the way that at least I feel. Like, I'm like very far left with economic policy. Like, I'm universal basic income. I mean, can you be any more left than that? And so, like, but I only want it for Americans. Like, basically, I want the government to only act in the best interest of, like, our citizens and never do anything that could compromise the well-being of our citizens for the best interests of other citizens and other people in other countries. So, like, no migrants, no unnecessary immigration, no foreign payments, no foreign aid. Get rid of all of that and make sure that we're getting, you know, domestic aid and helping those people, right? It should be that, and that's the way that I feel. That's like, that's my value system. What is an American? A citizen of America. So a person who lives in America who is a citizen of the country that can legally vote. So if you've come here on a green card, you're not really an American. If you've come here illegally, you're not really an American. If you're visiting, you're not really an American. What I'm talking about are people that are citizens of the country. Yeah, kids aren't American? What? I mean, kids, of course, kids would be citizens. What do you mean? All countries should be like that? Said, yeah, the fact that you had to ask that question. Yeah, chatter is an American. Yeah, basically, right? Oh, you said vote? Well, yeah, it's a collection of things.
Because we are living through a political realignment, and when you go through a realignment, it takes, 10 to 15, 20 years for it to happen. And so, to me, I think it's just maybe a little bit of the natural order of things, and partly because I don't think it's that presidents didn't care about the working class. I do think a lot of it had to do with identity politics and the woke liberalism, and also trying to take rights away from parents. And that has been a big issue. So, anyway, that's my 2 cents. Do you have 2 cents?
You need to write a piece for the Free Press. But you wear your MAGA lefty label now with pride. And thanks for sharing.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you guys so much.
Interesting perspective.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Doocy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's pretty much the way that a lot of people feel. And, again, arguing from the perspective of like, oh, taxes are really high or something like that. Stocks are down. Oh, like people don't give a shit about that. They're not going to care about that one way or another because they don't have stocks in a lot of cases. The prices of everything, specifically groceries, are going to go up like 2x. We'll have to wait and see. I think so. I think there's a good chance that could happen. Yeah, it could go up a lot. It's tougher than strawmanning. Building up your opponent's argument to make it as strong as possible, the better than they can. Oh, so I'm defending it. Well, I'm not really defending it or not. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with the tariffs. I mean, I'll say that the tariffs are massively destabilizing, and of course people are really worried about them. And I can see why they're worried. I think it makes a lot of sense. This is the video where he talks about all this shit. So we're going to get into it. Damn.
A very busy weekend. We got the 6 hostages out of Venezuela, as you probably know. And they're very safe right now. They're home with their families.
Well, that's good.
We appreciate the hard work of a lot of people.
I didn't even know that was happening.
Grinnell. We appreciate the cooperation from Venezuela. And we have some very happy people right now. Nobody thought that was going to happen. So they are home, they're safe, and they're with their families. That was a big one. Secretary of State Rubio is in Panama right now, and
little Marco.
We're talking about the Panama Canal. What they've done is terrible. They violated the agreement. They're not allowed to violate the agreement.
Apparently, they came back to the table too, by the way. Huge win with the Panama Canal. Officials announced that it will not be renewing its memorandum of understanding with China. There it is.
Is running the Panama Canal.
Yeah.
That was not given
it's
to
$3
China,
million
that
per
was
ship.
Given to Panama foolishly,
I could see that adding up.
But they violated the agreement, and
yeah, I could definitely see that adding up.
Something very powerful is going to happen. And as far as other things are concerned, as you know, we had a very busy weekend. We're dealing with Israel. We're dealing with Ukraine and Russia. We have meetings and talks scheduled with various parties, including Ukraine and Russia. And I think those discussions are actually going pretty well. The discussions on the Middle East with Israel and various and sundry other countries are progressing. Bibi Netanyahu is coming on Tuesday. And I think we have some very big meetings scheduled.
Do you feel that Elon Musk is delivering on his promises to you? Do you feel he's doing a good job right now with
I do. I think Elon's doing a good job. He's a big cost cutter. Sometimes we won't agree with it and we'll not go where he wants to go. But
so there was a guy, let me see if I can find it real quick. And apparently somebody was on the government payroll. Let me see if I can show you guys this. So let me see. It might take me a minute to find this, but I'll see if I can get it. And where the fuck is it? Where the fuck did it go? Oh my God, where is it? He's making so many posts, it's hard to keep up with it. Well, anyway, there was some guy causing trouble that was getting money from the government, and then Elon found out about it, and he said not anymore. So basically, they're just cutting off funding for a lot of these random fucking clowns, which is like, in my opinion, thank God. Wasting this fucking money, giving people that are morons money. Thank God. Yeah, just like Argentina. Yeah, I have no idea about that. I don't know. Let me see. I wish I could find this. Yeah, legacy media panicking because they underestimated Doge. Yeah, like he's getting a lot of this money out, And in my opinion, I think thank fucking God. I bet there's been so much. Oh, here we go. Let's see if I can find it. Yep. So apparently, let's see if I can find, where is it? It's this guy right here. So basically, this guy says the deep state is far more preferable to the Trump state. And then apparently this guy got exposed for getting money from the government. And then Elon Musk said that, you know, this is probably not going to happen for very long. And that's it. That's it. Yeah, it's kind of AI already. Bill's part of the deep state. Yeah, get rid of him. Get him the fuck out.
I think he's doing a great job. He's a smart guy, very smart. And he's very much into cutting
Thank God.
the budget of our federal government.
We fixed the glitch, yeah.
Retaliatory tariffs from Canada.
Say it?
You saw some retaliatory tariffs from Canada. There was a rider in the order. Are you planning to increase the tariffs against Canada?
Well, it could happen. If they do anything, we will. Canada's been very abusive of the United States for many years. They don't allow our banks. Did you know that? Canada does not allow banks to go in. If you think about it, that's pretty amazing. If we have a U.S. bank, they don't allow them to go in.
Damn.
Canada's been very tough on oil, on energy. They don't allow our farm products in, essentially. They don't allow a lot of things in, and we allow everything to come in. It's been a one-way street. We subsidize Canada by the tune of about $200 billion a year. And for what? What do we get out of it? We don't get anything out of it. I love the people of Canada. I disagree with the leadership of Canada. And something's going to happen there. But
something's going to happen. I wonder, there's no way we're going to try to make them a state, right? Like, there's no...
like, play the game. I don't mind. We can play the game all they want. Mexico, we've had very good talks with them. And this is retaliatory. This is retaliatory to a certain extent.
So he's just saying
Millions of
it.
people flowed into our country through Mexico and Canada, and we're not going to allow that. And by the way, we have among the lowest numbers we've ever had of people crossing our border, the lowest numbers since my administration.
Mr. President, pick your hero.
So on Truth Social, you said that you were going to cut aid from South Africa. Will you plan to cut aid across other African nations? And why South Africa?
It's only South Africa. Terrible things are happening in South Africa.
Yeah.
The leadership is doing some terrible things, horrible things. So that's under investigation right now. We'll make a determination. And until such time as we find out what South Africa is doing, they're taking away land, they're confiscating land, and actually they're doing things that are perhaps far worse than that.
And on the bed Chair Jerome Powell, he held race. What's your reaction to him not?
They're killing whites? I don't know if they are or not. That's what a lot of people say, though. A lot of people say that.
He held the race. He didn't cut the...
No, I'm not surprised. I think holding the race at this point was the right thing to do.
They are. I mean, this is the way I look at it. I mean, do I want to pay for that fucking shit? No, man. Let them fucking ride. Like, that's not my problem. What happens in Africa? You think I give a fuck what happens in Africa? Get the fuck out of here.
Country will be next.
Yeah.
4, 3,
So we're going to see what happens. It'll happen. But we're going to, we'll see how things work out. It might happen with them. But
it's not our problem.
It will definitely happen with the European Union. I can tell you that. Because they've really taken advantage of it. And, you know, we have over a $300 billion deficit. They don't take our cars. They don't take our farm products. They take almost nothing. And we take everything from them. Millions of cars, tremendous amounts of food and farm products. So the UK is way out of line. And we'll see the UK, but European Union is really out of line. UK is out of line, but I'm sure that one, I think that one can be worked out.
You mean South Africa? No, I do. I do. Keep in mind, I do mean South Africa, not all Africa. Like Kenya, we don't need to bring Kenya into this. Kenya didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, it's just South Africa. No, you're right. You're right.
Well, Prime Minister Starmer's been very nice.
Yeah, I don't know.
We've had numerous phone calls. We're getting along very well. And we'll see whether
we had a president from Kenya.
With the European Union, it's a $350 billion deficit. So obviously something's going to take place there. Where? Yeah. With who? I wouldn't say there's a timeline, but it's going to be pretty soon.
Yeah. No, I'm not concerned. We may have short-term a little pain, and people understand that. But long-term, the United States has been ripped off by virtually every country.
No, it's probably gonna tariffs probably gonna make shit more expensive in the short term for sure. Definitely. I mean, I could easily see that happening, and it sucks, right? But it's like, is it better to do that or not? I mean, I don't know. And the long term, who knows?
With deficits with
The long term remains to be seen. The short term is pretty much definitive.
And we're going to change it. It's been unfair. That's why we owe $36 trillion. We have deficits with everybody. We help everybody. We've been helping everybody for years. And to be honest, I don't think they appreciate it. So we're going to change that. We're going to change this fast. We're going to make America great again. We have to focus on our country. We have tremendous potential if properly used, and we have to focus on our country.
We're going to bring back nuclear power. That's what we got to do. We got to bring back a lot of nuclear power.
Tremendous deficits with China. Tremendous deficits with the European Union. Tremendous deficits with Mexico and Canada.
Bring back nuclear war?
What's the purpose of that? Why would we have deficits? And you look at...
I don't want to do that.
Pharmaceuticals and drugs. If you look at various products, it's much cheaper in other countries. We're not going to allow that much longer. We're not going to take it.
We'll next time that we have a hurricane, we'll use a nuke on it.
And we're getting them out. Well, it's been run by a bunch of radical lunatics, and we're getting them out. USAID, run by radical lunatics, and we're getting them out, and then we'll make a decision.
Fuck them.
I've spoken with people from Canada, I've spoken with people from Mexico, and I've spoken to a lot of other people. I'm speaking with Prime Minister Trudeau tomorrow morning, and I'm also speaking with Mexico tomorrow morning, and I don't expect anything very dramatic. We put tariffs on, and they owe us a lot of money, and I'm sure they're going to pay. About what? I don't think troops will be necessary in Panama. What Panama has done is terrible for national security for this part of the world. And, 70% of the signage on the Panama Canal was written in Chinese.
Mexico's already caving? Oh, yeah,
right.
They did.
It wasn't meant for China.
Yeah, they roached
It should have
out,
never been made. The deal was a ridiculous deal. We lost 38,000 people building the Panama Canal, one of the great wonders of the world. 38, think of it, 38. It was the most expensive project ever built by this country. If you take it,
seems to be doing the trick so far. The way it extends, it reminds me of the tentacles.
They gotta have like a hard mode version where you can sell drugs to kids in school. That's easy mode? Oh yeah, you're right. You sell them oregano, tell them it's weed, and then the kids will pretend to get high because they think that's what they're supposed to do. That's true. Okay, so I got my meth lab right here. How we doing? Everything's good. And let me order some. Damn. Okay, we selling more lava dicks too. All right. We need to meet up. Okay. All right. I gotta meet up with this bitch right now.
I require some aid.
I'm gonna meet up. I don't have any money. Why would I want to meet up with her?
I thought Hydra had too many.
I just realized I didn't have any money. Give me money. Okay, good. What about you? You want to buy something? Nope. Okay. All right, give me a minute. You still have, is Peggy still alive? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Okay, double lava dick. Let's go. Let's do 490. 490, Peter.
Maximum.
And we're gonna do late night. Late night. We're always selling late night now. Counter offer. We're gonna take double lava dick. And we're gonna take it all the way up to 410. Do it, Doris. You stupid bitch. Fuck you, Doris. Okay. All right. We got this. And then Elizabeth needs 2x lava dick. we're gonna give her the triple lava dick, and then we're gonna charge her $565, and then we're gonna get that late night as well. Like, oh yeah, this is crazy. We're making big money now. Okay. So we're okay. I can't sell that right now. All right.
It ain't cheap.
All right. Where's my meetup? My supplier right there. Okay, give me 1 second. I gotta go talk to Benji. Let me get some money from Benji. Where's Benji? There's Benji. Let's get it, Benji. Come on. Ooh, that's a lot of fucking money. God damn. Can't wait for Lava Dick 2. Well, that's gonna be cocaine. All right, ready to peek at the supplies. All right, I'm not ready for this yet. So we're gonna buy 30 of these. I might just get 30 of them so we can just re-up all the way, right? I'm thinking about like actually. Let me get 15. I'm gonna get 15 because I think I'm gonna be able to go into this. I'm almost number 5, right? Yeah, I'm almost at 5, so like I think I just go with that right now. Only buy enough to rank up. That's what I was thinking, bro. Like, yeah, exactly. Benji's a rat? No, he's not. That's my boy. Like, he would never do that. I'm gonna make sure that we get all this set up too. Let's do it. All right, we got 5. That's max. Take this, put that right there. Put this in here. Put this in there. Got it. All right, let's max everything else out too. Okay. There it is. I want to just keep the meth flowing. Right. 8. There it is. So now we are fully stacked up on meth. This is a big meth situation. And now we also need to get more things to mix the meth with. Let me put this back away. So what are we gonna buy this with? What are we gonna sell with? Not a real cracker. What do you want, bitch? Here you go. 1 lava dick. That's right. It's the easiest money in my life. All right, let's go ahead and buy this. So we're thinking about getting chili. Let's get a 40 chili. And let's get some batteries too. That's what I was selling, right? I'll patch you up. Was that what I was selling? Is that the lava dick? Yes? All right. Got it. All right, now I can't do anything with that yet. And I gotta put it in there, that way they can get to work. Okay. And I also had a drop too. I forgot all about my drop. Okay, so
What up, players? This is the Costa doing business, and I'm Michael Costa. So let's make some fat stacks of that stinking cash. But first, I know what you're thinking, all right? And just to clarify, I didn't jump off a building because of the market crash, all right? This happened because I couldn't pay my Coke dealer after the market crash. And then he threw me off the building. What up, Hector? Anyways, all the more reason to get down to making some of that money, okay? Now, this week, Big Daddy Trump's game of tariff, no tariff caused a lot of selling on Wall Street. But on Main Street, everybody's still singing bye, bye, bye. But it's spelled B-U-Y.
Pick your hero. Or villain. I'm not judging.
Hit me.
With fears that prices will be going way up, some Americans have started panic buying.
Consumers going on a tariff-induced shopping spree, from appliances to alcohol, hoarding items like toothpaste and toilet paper.
We were talking about it that we should buy some rice because we get rice that's made in Thailand.
and we said we don't really need it right now, but we're going to buy it.
Yup, that's right. American consumers are acting like me when I saw my Coke dealer. They are panicking. Now, as a rule of thumb, in a financial crisis, you should never panic. Then again, rules of thumb were meant to be broken. And I'm talking repeatedly smashed in a car trunk over and over again. But where there is panic, there are panic-tunities. If people are snapping up rice, then call me the Rice Patty Daddy. Because you're looking at a guy who just converted his entire bathroom into a rice bathroom. Look, and if anyone has a contact at Whole Foods, Sensei Costa's toilet rice is still looking for a distributor. Now, of course, grocery stores aren't the only ones caught up in Uncle DJ T's economy lobotomy. Know what I mean? Despite a 90-day pause for other countries, tariffs on China are still sky to the high. Hit me. Oh, Jesus.
U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods soared to 104% on everything from clothing and shoes to toys.
It could soon be much harder to get your hands on Taco Trunks, Care Bears, and even the new Nintendo Switch 2 that's out this summer, with companies opting to pause shipments to the U.S. Switch watches and X-ray tools for CAT scans could also be impacted by the tariff wars.
Oh, sorry, kids. These tariffs are affecting all your toys. Care Bears, Nintendo Switch, X-ray tubes, and CAT scans. Now you're never going to know what's going on inside of your Care Bear. Well, until puberty, am I right? Up top.
Mutants always rise again.
But seriously, these are just the kind of sacrifices we need to make to get the economy back to where it was 10 days ago. So, with toys in the red, that means I'm buying up children's tears, okay? These things go for $10,000 an ounce on the streets of Silicon Valley. What do you think Mark Zuckerberg fills his cold points with, all right? That's how he keeps it so Zucker. So Daddy T's tariffs are going to be affecting some shit that you don't care about, like child happiness or your estranged grandma's 401k. But who cares? Because you weren't getting that money anyway. Not since your ex-wife told her about what you did during the crypto conference. Even though you agreed to counseling and couples therapy, you deleted all the dating apps from your work phone, and you swore you'd never be bought a $5,000 cash for a Costco-sized bottle of amyl nitrates ever again. It wasn't enough.
I shall not be removed so easily.
It would never be enough. So you, Grandma. But that doesn't mean Papa Trump's tariffs aren't going to impact things that we do care about, like iPhones.
Apple seeing a really buying iPhones as higher prices limited Trump's tariffs. iPhone 16 Pro Max already $400. Could Trump
I am ready to put on a show.
When it comes to Apple, they were finding as many 747s as they could to get iPhones out of China.
Planes stuffed with billions of dollars of iPhones to arrive before the tariffs.
That's right. That's right. iPhones are flying here business class, so Apple can make a little business cash. But refugees fleeing war, they're not going to make it, are they? So that little shiny rectangle in your pocket is now worth a whole lot of money, which is why I'm bullish on unsupervised coat checks, okay? These rooms are teeming with tariff-free phones. All it takes is a cater-waiter uniform, and you'll be harvesting apples like a family in autumn you're no longer allowed to see anymore. Hey Siri, how much green gravy did I just make off this iPhone tariff crisis?
This phone has been reported stolen. Calling police.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Oops, clumsy me, right in a cup of coffee. Looks like I'm gonna have to dry that out in what? A bowl of Sensei Costa's
We are both despised by the people we strive to protect and lead.
Now available in the third stall of the men's bathroom at the East Rutherford Whole Foods. Now, for those of you that have a working iPhone and your favorite app for watching trad wives make slow churn smoothies, it's about to get a new owner.
All you need to do is capture the mission area.
The president announced he was extending by 75 days the deadline for TikTok's owner to find a non-Chinese buyer.
There are a number of interested parties who have said they would be willing to acquire the app.
The founder of the adult content site OnlyFans has also submitted a bid.
Here they are now.
TikTok is audio plus, and I'm not OnlyFans. Hell, push money into that site for years. I can't pull anything out because Mistress Victoria tells me I'm not allowed to. At least I put 2 of her kids through Northwestern. Let's go, Wildcats! But no matter who, bye, TikTok, do not worry because it will not be banned in the U.S., and that's a Costa guarantee. TikTok is simply too popular. The American people love it, and for some, it's the only workaround we have to communicate with our kids. Hey, Skyler. Hey, Brandon. You guys want to go to the Minecraft movie this weekend? Sound off in the comments. Your mom sucks. Well, that's all I have time for. If I don't get $2,500 to Hector in the next hour, he's going to shatter my pelvis. But hey, that's just the cost of doing business.
Control lost.
It seems we have you are under my protection.
I won't turn down extra protection.
We got a great show for you tonight. You're going to be voting for this one. Our guest tonight, economist Owen Cass, is going to be here later to discuss tariffs. Conservative economist busting Wednesday.
Us against the world.
Just watch it.
Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
You're gonna give me a turn your head
I
and
shall
cough.
not be removed so easily.
In some of his strongest comments yet, President Trump says he's considering his options to serve a 3rd term in office, a breach of the Constitution's 2-term limit for presidents.
I'm sorry, considering the option?
We can always count on you,
What are you
Spidey.
trying to order off
You need
menu
not
from the
fear.
Constitution?
Oh,
I see you got 2 terms here. But can I get an animal
Well,
style?
entertaining more, but a God.
What are you going to do? Attack your bird?
Control C.
How does that work exactly?
In a phone call with NBC, Trump saying, quote, there are methods which you could do it, including possibly urging his vice president, J.D. Vance, to run and then cede power back to Trump. The president saying that's one method, but that there are others, too.
Yes. There are other methods.
You are under my protection.
I am ready to put on a show.
There are other methods to stay in power beyond when you are legally allowed to be there. Historically, some of them although maybe Trump has something more creative in mind with the Vance thing. Have you guys heard of the movie Face Off? Yeah, we thought it was gonna work. Trump will watch that movie as the military seizes power. I'm sure Schumer I will allow it.
You shall not be harmed.
Term. We think his popularity will go down to 30.
We need to disappear.
So aside from the president saying, I'm not leaving, is there any other image of the shambolic state of our democracy, perhaps something that looks like what you might get if you fed the destruction of democracy into an AI meme generator?
No, I'm fine. Don't lie.
Oh, wait, Elon Musk. Before giving $1 million checks to voters in an effort to influence the Supreme Court race in Wisconsin. Hey! You know what that's about?
Gonna let it stay?
Their culture is not your costume, Musk.
One's out there, headed our way.
Mutants always rise
They're
again.
people. Do not appropriate their dairy chapeaus.
My animal pals are way cuter. They've almost got it.
You can really get a sense of the fraying of our democracy by tracing the arc of its symbolic headline.
Us against the
Meanwhile, the process of streamlining our a couple of months into Trump's second of his
I am ready to put on a
to live up
show.
to his vaunted apprentice catchphrase, "You're fired."
More than 1,300 workers now fired at the Department of Education.
The IRS beginning to lay off more than 6,000 employees.
The Social Security Administration will cut 7,000 jobs.
The U.S. Postal Service will trim its workforce by 10,000.
HHS will be dropping around 20,000 workers.
The Department of Veterans Affairs looking to cut 80,000 jobs.
In the administration's defense, those veterans shouldn't have been having affairs in the first place. That's on them. And by the way, do we need a department for that? The layoffs have been harsh, unpredictable, and needless to say, the mainstream media has been outraged.
So what's the end game here? Killing American jobs?
They're risking hurting those hardworking Americans. That bothers me.
You're playing with real people's money, real people's jobs, and real people's lives.
Rooting for Americans to lose jobs.
I'm sorry, that's empathy for Tesla workers. Apparently at Fox, those are the only hardworking Americans whose jobs matter. But the question is, with hundreds of thousands of civil servants being often haphazardly fired, is there any corner, no matter how small, of our current government that is safe from Musk's chainsaw of efficiency?
President Trump telling NBC News he has no plans to fire anyone following that controversial Signal group chat.
Yes! Veterans Affairs, Department of Education, USAID, you. Because all is right at the Department of Accidentally Texting War Stuff to Reporters. But fear not, regular civil service government parasites. Perhaps this incident offers an opportunity for you all to get the kind of job security that clearly doesn't come from the quality of your work, but the assiness of your kisses.
The battle starts in 5.
So, for instance,
4,
this Friday,
3,
when
2,
you, as a civil servant,
you have to stop them from securing the mission
So
area.
we were at 400% yesterday. Now we're at 1,000. China is now willing to negotiate. The yuan has fallen to the lowest level in 18 years. I mean, this has been fucking insane, honestly. And I'll be kind of curious to see what happens with this. The art of the deal. Please briefly explain the art of the deal for idiots who don't understand how Trump operates even after decades of using the same strategy for everything. Okay, here are the key elements. Start with an extreme position to create room for compromise. Use attention-grabbing statements to control the narrative and put the other side on the defensive. Create a sense of urgency to pressure the other side into making concessions. Keep the other side guessing about your true intentions and bottom line. Be willing to walk away if the deal doesn't meet your standards. This is absolutely what's happened.
For years, we've been ripped off and taken advantage of by China and others in their fairness, but by China, that's a big one. And it's just one of those things. You know, we're making $2 billion a day right now. This country. $2 billion a day with tariffs. And they were making $2 billion a day. We'll be making more. Now, when you see what happened today, I don't know if it's still there. You know, this is, I looked an hour ago, but we're up like close to 3,000 points. Nobody's ever seen a day like that. I think that's a record, isn't it, fellas? Yeah, is that a record? Who would have a record like that? Your powers are mine! The world, they get it. Our country's very strong. We were left in a very, very weakened country, both economically, financially, because of all of the tariffs and all of the other companies just raiding us and ripping us off.
And that's President Trump yesterday, after issuing that 90-day pause on reciprocal tariffs for some countries while keeping the 10% baseline tariff in place, while also raising the tariff on China to 125% effective immediately. The president said that was because of a lack of respect that Beijing has shown the world markets with its retaliation against the U.S. The president also told reporters he's still open to meeting with Xi Jinping.
A safe haven for all mutants.
No, of course he's going to talk to him. I mean, this is just something that's going to happen.
Made it a reality.
Yeah, of course.
No, sure. He's a friend of mine. I like him. President Xi. I like him. I respect him. But they haven't treated our country right. Sure, I'd do it with him. On the other countries, we have Japan is here, and South Korea is here, and others are here. And we're trying to see him. It's, from what I hear, it's much more than 75. I said 75 plus. It's everybody wants to make a deal, actually. And
do what's right for our country. We also want to do what's right for the world. The world is important. I mean, it's the world, right? And I think we're going to make a lot of people very happy. And I think investing in the United States of America will be the greatest investment that anybody's ever made.
That's pretty important.
The president keeping allies close with this new tariff plan. Joining me now is Gatestone Institute senior fellow and the author of Plan Red, China's project to destroy America. Gordon Chang
It's going to be
with us. Gordon, great to see you. Your reaction to all that has taken place here. I don't know why Xi Jinping doesn't just pick up the phone and call President Trump and try to do a deal rather than back and forth with this retaliation.
Yeah, picking up the phone and calling President Trump is the economically rational thing to do. China absolutely needs to do that. But Xi Jinping has configured the Chinese political system so that only the most hostile answers are considered to be acceptable, which means he box himself in. He can't do that because if he does that, his Communist Party leaders, they're going to criticize him. So right now, China's in a position where it can't do what it absolutely needs to do.
And I think they're trying to pressure U.S. markets. When they saw the Politburo and Xi Jinping and his leadership team, when they saw the markets were down 2,000 points, 2 days in a row, trillions of market value lost, they tried to pile on. In fact, there was an issue yesterday in the bond market where rates were spiking. And I was questioning, what's going on in the bond market today? Was it a trade gone wrong, or is China selling treasuries? And I spoke with the Treasury Secretary about it. I asked that question, just that. Watch this.
There's one of these deleveraging convulsions that's going on right now in the markets, and I think it's in the fixed income market. There's some very large leverage players who are experiencing losses. They're having to deleverage. I believe that there is nothing systemic about this. I think that it is an uncomfortable but normal deleveraging that's going on in the bond market, and I expect that as we see the leverage come down, the risk managers tapping people on the shoulders, telling them to bring their risk down, which is what happens every couple of years as leverage goes up, then the market will calm down.
Is China jumping treasuries to try to put pressure this market?
Yeah, I think it works against their purposes if they are dumping treasuries.
right now. I'm actually kind of curious.
Coming in fast. Only 60 seconds left.
This is 39%, so it's pretty much about the same as it was. It's a little bit less than yesterday.
Watch your tape.
Because if they're dumping treasuries and they have to buy something else, if they sell dollars
it's not bonds. No, I understand what you're talking about. Bonds. I was just looking at this number and I was thinking, I wonder if it's more or less than that now.
Strengthen their currency. And as I said earlier, they've actually been weakening their currency, which is a loser for everyone. And again, when I hear all these stories, the dollar is no longer going to be the reserve currency. If you end up with the Chinese who are willing to use their currency as a trade tool, that doesn't seem like a very good reserve asset to me.
I was really happy to get the Secretary's commentary on the dollar, and he reiterated the U.S. position for the strong dollar. But what do you think? I remember during the financial crisis back in 2007, China and Russia tried to team up, pile on, sell treasuries to pressure the market. So that immediately came to me when I saw that spike in rates yesterday.
Yeah, I think that's part of the answer of what the Chinese are doing, because they do want to put pressure on President Trump.
No.
But the other thing, though, is, yes, they want their currency to weaken, but they don't want it to weaken too fast because they're worried about capital flight. So I think that they have to sell treasuries, dollar-denominated assets, to support the renminbi. But the thing that's really interesting, is that President Trump looks at this and says, I'm not afraid of you, China.
Yeah. He really did.
And the reason is, look, the Chinese don't have any cards in this. As the Treasury Secretary said, they're only holding a pair of twos, and Trump has a royal straight flush. But the point here, though, is that the Chinese think, well, we can intimidate Trump, we can coerce him into surrendering preemptively. And Trump yesterday said, look, 125% tariffs, I'm not being coerced. I'm not being intimidated. You, China, you're the ones who have to back down.
Yeah, and I love the fact that President Trump will always say...
Yeah, it's 145 now, by the way. So he's continuing to go. Yeah, he's keeping doing it. No cards, yeah.
things like, yeah, I want to meet him. He's my friend. We get along great. While at the same time is, putting 125% tariff on the country. You know, he knows his customer in communist China. And the U.S. signed a new security and defense pact to reinforce control of the Panama Canal. Pete Hegseth down at the canal, the defense secretary announced the pact during a joint press conference in Panama City yesterday. Watch this.
We also signed.
See, this is like another thing. I feel like very clearly Trump has been trying to take tactical moves to, like, weaken China. And he thinks China controls the Panama Canal, and so they're trying to weaken them there too.
4, 3, 2,
with the Minister of Canal Affairs.
Wait, it's
all you need to do is
154%
capture the
now?
mission area. Got it?
Framework for U.S. military and auxiliary ships to travel through the Panama Canal first and free. First and free. We're working with them to ensure that we take back the canal from malign Chinese influence. And these two documents, I think, create a historic baseline and send a clear message to the region and the communist Chinese that America will stand by our allies, keep sea terrain free, so that our ships, our military vessels, our auxiliary vessels are free to traverse anytime they need for any contingency around the world.
It's another.
If we held the fucking canal and we're having to pay to use it, fuck that. Like, I'm just gonna be honest, fuck that. Absolutely not.
Another thing.
We built it. I'm trying to be diplomatic.
These things must belong to me.
That China is upset about, that the U.S. is taking back the Panama Canal. And, you know, it seems to me that China's on its back heels right now. I mean, with all of these moves from President Trump, what do you think about the Chinese economy? What's the impact there?
Well, the Chinese economy is probably around zero. And we see from the price signal, it's in a deflationary spiral down, which is really inconsistent with 5.0% growth that they reported for last year. So this is coming at a time where China's having its 2008. In 2008, they didn't want to have a recession, so they overstimulated their economy. They've accumulated all this debt. They don't know what to do with it because this debt is internal, which means if you try to resolve it, local parties are going to get hurt. They don't have the political will to do that. They got their 2008, they got Trump on tariffs, they got deglobalization. This is all hitting China at the same time, and they have no answers to this in Beijing.
Yeah, and you think that they would come back and try to, you know, schmooze Trump, try to get in his favor.
I am ready to put on a show!
I feel like there's a very high probability they're trying to do
The
that.
moon!
It's like, if they don't... No way. Why not? Wouldn't you do that if you were them? Yeah, of course. Because the problem is the optics. It's not the outcome, it's the optics.
I see you've been taking my lessons to heart, man.
Well, like you skeptics say no way to fucking everything? We would know from a tweet? Yeah, I guess so. Anyone else notice Trump dialed back all the hostile rhetoric about the rest of the world in the last 2 days? Well, yeah, of course. He always does that. They're the worst people. It's the same as he called Gavin Newsom new stuff over and over. And then when he started helping them with the wildfires, and Gavin Newsom started playing ball with Trump. Now he's not Newsom. He does that with everyone. Like, this is not really any sort of like a big secret.
You cannot hurt me.
I see you've been taking my lessons to
He recognizes that they're in a weakened position, and that 125% tariff's only going to make things worse. We'll see if they blink, and who blinks first. South Korean officials are ready to talk about tariffs going down. The U.S. country will hold snap elections in June, June 3rd, to choose the successor to former President Yoon Suk Yeol. He was ousted last year after briefly imposing.
He had a
Final score, 2-1.
he had a national level crash out where he just randomly decided to impose martial law,
Epic victory!
and everybody in South Korea was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you retard, like, get the fuck out of here. And that was about it, you know? Like, then he was out of a job, and that was it. Yeah, he had his gamer moment, And you got to remember, like, South Korea is pretty close to North Korea. So, like, they hear martial law, they're like, oh, not for me.
Imposing martial law in the country, sparking those protests and riots. Gordon, what do you think about this? You said democracy is at risk in this presidential election, and it could affect trade deals as well.
Yeah, the leading candidate for the June 3rd election is a guy named Lee Jae-myung. And Lee Jae-myung is basically a communist, although he can't say that because he's running for president. But the problem is he's very pro-China, very pro-North Korea, anti-U.S., anti-Japan. And so we're in a risk here because South Korea could really go red very quickly. Wow. But the point is, on trade deals, you know, Yi doesn't like the United States, so he doesn't want a trade deal with the U.S. He wants to kick our troops off the peninsula. He called them an occupying force. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, you know, right now things are very much at a point where this is the most important election in South Korea's history, June 3rd.
Now, I'll tell you, what a difference this president and this administration is relative to the last one, where, you know, the Oversight Committee was investigating all the money.
Last Wednesday, Donald Trump announced that in
what it takes to protect my
An insufferable,
people.
whiny
No
brat.
matter.
30 seconds before you attack.
I truly do believe that. There's something wrong with her. She's disturbed. She's unhappy. She's just not stable.
Let us show
Crimea
these
River, she's just
so-called
exactly
heroes
everything that we
what mutant
can't
kind
stand.
is
Like Rachel
truly
Ziegler is the first of
capable
them all when she looks like Lord Farquaad in the film.
And if she hadn't have opened her mouth, I think that this movie might have done well.
What do you think the odds are of this person working ever again?
The battle starts in 5, 4,
Rachel Zegler is
3,
responsible for the
2,
2008 financial crash.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Before you hit that skip button, I bet you're sick of hearing about Snow White and Rachel Zegler. Another video defending her? No thanks. Or maybe you're thinking, finally someone's calling her out. Well, this isn't actually either of those videos. This is about something much bigger that nobody's talking about. Look, you can hate Rachel Zegler all you want. Go ahead. But what if I told you that's exactly what Disney does? That they're perfectly happy to let this 23-year-old actress take all the heat while they count their money in the background. But hey, if you're not interested in finding out how one of the most powerful corporations on the planet manipulates public opinion and throws their own stars under the bus, well, you can just click away now. For everyone else, buckle up, because this is going to happen. Let's get one thing straight from the beginning. I'm not here to defend Rachel Zegler's comments. Some of what she said about Snow White was genuinely baffling from a marketing perspective. Calling the prince stalkerish and saying, we're not doing the someday my prince will come thing, while promoting a remake of Snow White isn't exactly marketing 101. But here's my question. Why was she the only one talking? Where was the director? Where were the producers? Where was Disney's massive PR machine that micromanages every aspect of their precious IP? Disney has built an empire worth billions by controlling their message. They don't just let their stars run wild in interviews, especially not when it's a remake of their most iconic princess film. Especially not when they've invested over $600 million. And especially not when that star is a relatively inexperienced 23-year-old actress. So again I ask, why was Rachel Zegler left hanging out to dry? Because Disney needed a scapegoat. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Casting a Latina actress as Snow White. But Snow White is supposed to be the fairest of them all with skin as white as snow. Yeah, I've heard it. We've all heard it. And honestly, that's a legitimate critique if you're a purist about the source material. But here's what you might not realize. Disney doesn't actually care about authentic representation. They don't cast diverse actors because they deeply believe in creating opportunities or authentic storytelling. They do it because of something called ESG, environmental, social, and governance metrics. These scores affect how companies are rated by investors and can impact their stock prices. Having diversity initiatives checks a box that makes Disney look good to a certain type of investor and helps them avoid criticism from certain groups. If Disney truly cared about authentic representation, they'd be creating new stories centered around diverse characters with their own cultural context, not just repainting their old princesses different colors. When Disney actually puts in the work to create authentic stories from different cultures, they can be amazing. But remaking Snow White with a Latino lead while keeping the story essentially European, that's not meaningful representation. That's a corporate diversity checkbox. And what happens when that checkbox casting meets backlash? Disney lets the actress take it. Before we go deeper on Snow White, let's zoom out for a second. Disney has a pattern, and it's not pretty. Marvel started making formulaic, increasingly generic content after the Disney acquisition. Star Wars, the sequel trilogy was a beautiful-looking mess with no coherent vision. Pixar, their most original, groundbreaking work came before Disney took full control. 20th Century Fox, basically gutted. Disney has a simple playbook. Buy beloved IP, milk it until it's dry, move on to the next acquisition. Quality storytelling isn't the priority extending franchise lifespans. And Snow White, it's just the latest victim of this pattern. So let's get back to Rachel Zegler and the controversy. The internet has been brutal to this young actress. The comments, the videos, the memes, it's been relentless. And yes, again, her interviews didn't do her any favors. But why is no one talking about the executives who greenlit a modernized Snow White without a clear vision? The scriptwriters, who apparently wrote a version so different from the original that even the lead actress seemed confused about what story they were telling. The PR team that didn't properly prep their young star for controversial questions. The directors and producers who were mysteriously absent when the backlash started. Disney is a $200 billion company with almost a century of experience. They know exactly how fans react to changes, to beloved classics. They've seen the pattern with The Little Mermaid, with Mulan, with every remake they've done. So when they cast Rachel Zegler, they knew what was coming. And instead of protecting their young star, they let her walk right into the fire, alone. But wait, it gets even more twisted. Have you noticed how Disney's marketing changed after the controversy started? Suddenly, they're leaning into the classic Snow White imagery. Suddenly, they're emphasizing how faithful parts of the remake will be to the original. Suddenly, the dwarfs are back in the marketing after initially suggesting they be replaced by magical creatures. It's almost like they're using the backlash as free market research. They put out one version, see what makes people angry, then adjust. And who pays the price for this strategy? Not Disney. Rachel Zegler does. Here's a theory that might sound crazy at first, but hear me out. What if Disney wanted the controversy? In the attention economy, there's no such thing as bad publicity. Every angry tweet, every outraged YouTube video, every Disney is ruining classics comment is free advertising. Disney has mastered the art of using controversy to keep their projects in the public conversation. They've done it with The Little Mermaid, with Lightyear, with Strange World. It's marketing 101 in 2025. Controversy equals sign clicks equals sign awareness equals sign. Box office Snow White has been trending for months because of this controversy. It's getting more attention than almost any other upcoming Disney project. And it cost them nothing. Well, nothing except Rachel Zegler's public image. Let's be real for a second. Rachel Zegler is 23 years old. When she was cast in Snow White, she was barely old enough to drink. She's at the beginning of her career. Disney, on the other hand, is a century-old corporation with the most sophisticated PR and marketing apparatus in entertainment history. Who should know better? Who has more responsibility to handle the situation properly? The executives making these decisions are making millions of dollars a year. They have decades of experience. They knew exactly what would happen when they cast a Latina actress as Snow White and then modernized the story. But instead of taking responsibility, they've been virtually silent, letting their young star absorb all the negativity. This isn't just about Snow White. This is about a pattern. Disney creates controversy around their remakes, often through casting or story changes. They let their actors take the brunt of fan outrage. Then they adjust their marketing based on the backlash, essentially getting free market research. Finally, they position themselves as the reasonable middle ground between toxic fans and woke activists. It's manipulation on a massive scale, and we keep falling for it. Think about it. How many hours have people spent making videos attacking Rachel Zegler? How many comment sections have exploded with arguments about Snow White's casting? How many social media posts have gone viral talking about this controversy? All while Disney quietly observes, adjusts their strategy, and most importantly, keeps their movie in the public conversation without spending a dime on additional marketing. It's genius in a cold, calculated way. But here's the thing. This strategy is ultimately self-destructive. Disney's live-action remakes are showing diminishing returns. Their strategy of mining nostalgia, while simultaneously beloved classics, is creating audience fatigue and eroding trust. The Little Mermaid underperformed expectations. Pinocchio was a disaster. Peter Pan and Wendy came and went with barely a ripple. Disney's stock has struggled. They've had layoffs. Their streaming strategy has failed to deliver the profits they promised investors. This isn't a company at the top of its game. This is a company desperately trying to squeeze value from its IP while losing touch with what made that IP special in the first place. So where does this leave Rachel Zegler? Lost in all this controversy is the fact that she's a talented actress and singer. Her performance in West Side Story was genuinely impressive. She has real potential, but Disney put her in an impossible position. They cast her in a role that was guaranteed to generate backlash, gave her a modernized script that contradicted the original story, then left her to explain these contradictions to fans who love the classic version. You can actually see her struggling in these interviews, trying to promote the movie while also staying true to the modernized version she was given. She's trying to hit talking points about female empowerment and updated values while also respecting the original. It's a no-win situation, and it was entirely preventable if Disney had developed a clear, coherent vision for their remake properly prepared.
With you, perhaps. But your fellow mutants may not be as welcoming.
Give them a chance to know the true you, and they will see the error of their ways.
If you knew who I have become, Father.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1! All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
Has twisted metal in ways I would never dare.
This sure is a long way from Yancey Street.
I feel like myself again.
Feels like the looks like the mission area is yours to capture now. The mission area is yours.
We have done well.
Rest easy, Ben. You learned it.
Rest now, my child. Your troubled days are over. I feel like myself again. Mutants always rise again. Much better.
Invisible? Just embrace the light.
And shield us against the world. Disappear!
A fatal attraction.
Your team's capture progress has passed the halfway point.
That's better. Psionic surge! We've got trouble.
I'm opening a portal.
Relay deployed.
Pentagram.
Seized.
Your domain is not for the
I'll patch you up.
Good medicine.
Yo, que
So much practice. I'm just dying.
I'll patch you up.
You captured more than half of the mission area. Keep going. Control lost.
Enemy in front of us. Good medicine.
They've almost got him.
against the world.
Armed and dangerous!
Disappear!
The Sorcerer Supreme lives once more. The time entanglement is a vexing problem, even for the Sorcerer Supreme.
Seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Every time I see you, I think to myself, as long as Spider-Man is still around, everything will be all right.
Whoa, that's a lot of pressure.
I don't mean it that way. You just mean a lot to a lot of people.
The battle starts in 5, 4,
Thank you, Rocket.
3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
Of all the possible realities, this is not the one I expected to find myself in.
I am strengthened for battle.
Pick up your hold still. I'm trying to help.
You get a weapon!
The mission area is yours to capture now.
By the Eye of Agamotto!
Pride of the neighborhood.
This is a nice spot.
Be right there.
Firepower here, people!
There's something about this place.
I am strengthened for battle. Our enemies are near. I've heard the darkness.
Someone charge my back!
You captured more than half of the mission area. Keep going. Disappear!
It's almost built!
Us against the world!
I am strengthened.
Armed and dangerous! Again!
Glory's almost yours! My time to shine. Control wall!
Again!
Lights out.
The Sorcerer Supreme lives once more.
Goodbye. For now.
I am strengthened for battle. By the Eye of Agamotto!
Calling me.
Orb and green. I purge the darkness!
Disappear! Control C's!
Enemy in front of us!
Stronger already. You'll have to keep fighting until we have a winner.
the shades of the Seraphim, I return.
Their team's capture progress has passed the halfway point.
I'll patch you up.
Good medicine.
Your god is suffering. Ready to get your yarn on? Hey,
Us against the world.
Armed and dangerous!
Dark magic.
all right!
All those crises I quietly put out, you have no idea.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
This is not how I was expecting this day to play out. Never a dull moment for our crew, eh, Quill? I just hope we can get this wrapped up soon. You know, I have plans. You made a plan. I guess there's a first time for everything.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
Intruders detected. I like hanging around Groot because he gets me.
Check this place out.
So it begins.
Someone scratch my back.
Good medicine.
Hey, Moon Knight, you dropped an arm.
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now.
All right!
Disappear!
I'll patch you up. Hey, team!
One couldn't win without the other. By the eye of Agamotto! Dark magic!
Double KO!
I am strength.
The perfect text!
Will's gone? That's swell. Guess it'll be a while.
Us against the world.
Anyway.
Just embrace the light!
Leave me darkening.
I am
The moon hawks!
They captured the mission area!
By the shades of the Seraphim, I return.
Get in here, y'all.
Goodbye.
Armor patch here. Hey up.
Look out behind you.
I'll patch you up.
Good medicine.
Please don't touch my shoe.
Enemy in front of us. These arms are dangerous.
progress has passed the halfway point.
Hands are shaking again. Focus.
I'll switch after my ult, because I might get it soon.
Ready for a boost?
I am strengthened for battle. I'm ready to unleash my mystic power. By the eye of Agamotto! Magic!
Bro, just break the wall. Turning your back to the rest of the enemies versus dying because there's a wall there. Either way, you're gonna die.
Pain is no match. I'm opening a portal.
You'll have to keep fighting until we have a winner.
Ready to be deployed.
A shortcut through space.
Hey, team! Enjoy
Disappear! Us against the world!
The Sorcerer Supreme returns.
What a stupid ass thing. Oh yeah, let me turn my back to the entire enemy team. Yeah, you're a genius, bro.
Well, you can't expect to win them all.